You now are Mr. Wonderful. You're world famous ABC Shark Tank. I see you smile when I say it. If there's humans on Mars, they know who you are. So this isn't just like a Western Hemisphere conversation, right? It's not just about the United States and Canada. I know that you've got a number of different friends, colleagues, and peers all throughout the Middle East, Europe. What are they all saying about this? Are they jumping in the game? Are they still a little bit hesitant? What's the international money doing?
It's very, very interesting. The topic that's going to be in Riyadh next week is about crypto, and there's a tremendous amount of excitement about it, but they have not pulled the trigger yet. They're trying to get themselves set up for the moment when the regulator allows it, both in their own geography and in the US. You got to remember that those funds, those sovereign funds, whether it be Saudi Arabia or United Arab Emirates, a huge amount of that capital is invested in the S&P 500 and derivatives thereof. Huge amounts, huge amounts. So they cannot be offside with the US regulator. They just can't. And I look at this as a huge opportunity. I speak to those guys almost every day. They would immediately go to 1% to 3% on Bitcoin alone, just Bitcoin, let alone Ethereum or any level 1, level 2s on the chain. They haven't even thought about that. They're just thinking about Bitcoin and owning that as an asset. The amount of capital that will come into this market when the regulator approves Bitcoin as an asset or a currency or a security, whatever they're going to, regulate it as, is going to be unbelievable, which is why I own it. I mean, my premise, stomaching the volatility, which we all do every 12-month cycle, is the upside is behemoth. It's huge. And so, whether it be, for me, it's an asset, it's a long-term hold. The coin I own, the coin is the coin I own. I don't trade it. I lend it. I stake it, and I get some income from that, but I'm never going to give up the coin. And I heard you guys talking about the ESG issue. I'm sorry that hasn't gone away, but there have been some new initiatives in raising capital to solve for it.
So before we get to the ESG stuff, with this international money, right? You talk about them wanting to go 1% to 3% just to Bitcoin. Maybe they would do some other stuff as well. Are we talking about just large family offices in the Middle East and Europe? Are we talking about foundations, sovereign wealth funds? And I'm trying to use that as a proxy for how serious the most conservative investors in the world are about this versus, oh no, this is a large family office where there's kind of one decision maker and they're going to end up making that decision based on how comfortable they are on a regulation standpoint and also a return standpoint.
Yeah. The real opportunity is not with the family offices or hedge funds that operate out of the Middle East. The real money is in the actual sovereign funds in both Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. It's billions and billions and billions of dollars. They have not allocated to crypto yet. When that happens, you'll see it reflected in the price of Bitcoin. There's no question about it. And they have such long-term views in those funds and the funds are so large. Remember, these countries don't operate the same way as the US domestic countries do, although they're managed. Many of the people managing those Middle Eastern funds, the sovereign funds, are actually Western educated managers. And so they generally abide by discipline and principles of risk diversification. So they may have a mandate, for example, that no stock can represent more than 5% of the fund or no sector more than 20%. Those are diversification mandates that are used all around the world, and they do that there too. But when you're dealing with a multi-billion-dollar mandate, and some of these they're the largest pools of capital in the world, a 1% allocation is a tremendous amount of money. And so there's a whole bunch of people, and me included, heading over in November, and everybody is talking about not just Bitcoin anymore. It's what would a portfolio look like if, the managers are asking this of participants that are already building these portfolios. Give me an allocation of positions if I want to be exposed to Bitcoin itself, of course, but also be involved in decentralized finance and also own level 1 and level 2 chains. What does that look like? And I'm heading over, I think probably you and I, at some point in the next few weeks, I'm going to give you my portfolio. I'm not finished yet, but it's over 21 positions right now. And I'll do it on your show. I'll disclose what I own. I think you're going to be knocked out by what you see what I've got here, because I've gone right down the rabbit hole. I've hired multiple people to do the due diligence on some of these really eclectic projects, but we are investing in them.